So Copper is all the way upstairs. We are going to see how quickly he will come down when I call his name. Here we go. Copper! Copper! Hi everybody, it's Tuesday and we are ready for another week of social studies e-learning. I hope you all had a great Easter, great time spending it with family, staying indoors, and hopefully staying safe and well. I miss you all, and I hope we're all ready to have a great week. So just to kind of give you a rundown, today, tomorrow, we are going to be finishing up World War I. Thursday is going to be your World War I quiz. I'm going to post the quiz just like how I do every other lesson. It's going to be a link. It's going to take you to a multiple choice Google Forms quiz. The quiz is going to be open from Wednesday night when I post it at about 8 o'clock until Friday at 3 p.m. After that, it is no longer open. If you don't take it within that time, you are going to have to request another link, and you'll also have to tell me why you didn't take it during the required time, and I'll decide if you were goofing off or if you actually had something wrong, say with Wi-Fi or iPad, that sort of thing. So that is what this week is going to look like. Today we're going to talk about the end of World War I, so let's get started. For 3 years, the war is going to be at a stalemate. So a stalemate means that neither side could defeat the other. One side would win a battle, and then the next week or so, the other side would win a battle. So they're at this stalemate. Slowly, however, the war is going to turn in favor of the Allies. So we know who they are. In early 1917, German U-boats, so we talked about U-boats. I hope you remember what they are. It was your bell work question today. And began attacking American ships. So at this point, America was neutral. America was not going to take part in World War I, but then Germany got us involved. And American ships were carrying goods to Britain. U.S. gave Germany a warning saying, hey, don't mess with us. We are not fighting this war at this point. Please leave us alone. However, when the U-boats were attacking U.S. ships, the United States entered the war on the side of the Allies. With the entrance of the United States, that really gave the Allies a fresh advantage, and that's really going to end the stalemate that we see. Soon afterwards, the Russians are going to pull out of the war. They're exhausted. They've been fighting for years, and finally, Russia can't keep up with the weapons that they need anymore. They can't keep up with the funds, so they have to pull out of the war. That really puts a damper on the Triple Entente and their side of the war. Germany quickly attacked the Allies, hoping to put an end to the war. The Allies stopped the attack. And did I say Triple Entente? I'm sorry. Central Powers. My bad. Central Powers, with that attack, they suffer a great blow. And that's really what's going to trigger the end of this war. And then in the fall of 1918, so we saw that the stalemate lasted until about 1917. And in the fall of 1918, the Central Powers surrender, and the Allied powers are victorious. So at the end of World War I, Central Powers, they say, we can't do this anymore. We can't continue fighting. We've lost. And the Allied powers win. All right, let's see if this slide changes. Nope. I'm still waiting for someone to give me this amazing solution as to why it does this. So the wars end. After more than 4 years of fighting, the war comes to an end on November 11th, 1918. It was a day of celebration. Hundreds, thousands of people were so excited that World War I, or as you can see on this newspaper article, the Great War had ended. More than 8.5 million soldiers had been killed. So that is a crazy amount of people that gave their lives to protect their countries. And at least 20 million more were wounded. Millions of civilians had lost their lives as well because we talked about bombings and these new weapons. And yes, there were front lines where people were fighting. A lot of times countries would target large cities of their enemies, and those large cities would also be hit. So you have to think these civilians, they're not fighting the war, but they're living with it. They're dealing with it. And the war is going to bring crazy, tremendous change to Europe, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. So with the end to the war, one second. Oh, it changed. Look at that. Making peace. So with the end of the war, countries can't just go back to what they were doing, because ultimately something like this is going to happen again. So they have to find a way to make peace. Shortly after the end of the war, leaders from the Allied nations met in Versailles, which is near Paris. Back when we talked about the French Revolution, remember I mentioned Versailles. It is a palace built for the king at the time, King Louis and Queen Marie Antoinette. You can still visit Versailles. It's gorgeous. Never been there. Definitely have seen lots of pictures. And there at Versailles, they are going to begin debating the terms of peace for the Central Powers. So the Allies realized, okay, we want everything to go back to normal, but they also realized that if they didn't punish the Central Powers in a way that could be remembered, this might happen again. So it's that sort of thing of when you break a rule, you have to be punished, even though you're really sorry for breaking. Maybe we'll say you broke a lamp. Okay, we'll use that as an example. If you break a lamp and you apologize, you're like, I shouldn't have done that, you still most likely are going to get punished because you were throwing a ball in the house or doing something that you weren't supposed to do. The Central Powers, these countries, they weren't doing what they were supposed to do. So yes, they surrendered. They say, okay, we lost. They still have to be punished in some way, so that way, hopefully, these leaders aren't going to say, well, let's just try this again. It didn't work first time, but hey, who knows? Maybe second chances. So something had to be done. And all the Allied leaders knew that. Do I have a cursor? Yeah, I do. Nope, that's not what I want. This is what I want. So making peace from the Ally point of view. At the time, the United States was being led by our president, pictured right there, Woodrow Wilson. And he wanted what is called a just peace. So he wanted it fair for the Allies. He also wanted it fair for the Central Powers, because he did not want to have global tensions after the war. So obviously, the United States aren't going to be great friends with the Central Powers at this time, but he also didn't want it to be, they're our enemies for life, right? He wanted to be able to go back to that peaceful worldview. He did not want harsh peace terms that might anger the losing country. So some leaders were saying, well, these losing countries should give up their land, should give up money, should give up all these things. Woodrow Wilson, very wise man, did not want to anger the losing countries. He wanted them to feel punishment, but he did not want to do this, Germany is now wiped off the map. No more Germany. He didn't want to do that. Because that could just lead to a future conflict. Other Allied leaders, they wanted to punish Germany. They believed Germany had started the war. They believed it was all Germany's fault, and that Germany should end up paying for the damages that the entire world really encountered. They also believed that weakening Germany would prevent future wars. Now, that is key right there. Sadly, World War I, the next conflict that we're going to talk about is World War II. Germany is a huge player in World War II, and it really stems from the decisions that are made here at the end of World War I. So peace is in talks. Woodrow Wilson is trying to lead by example by what actually should be done to the Central Powers. Woodrow Wilson is incredibly wise, one of my favorite presidents for sure. and he's going to do a really great job when it comes to the Treaty of Versailles. So that is where we are going to stop for today. All about peace today, right? All about how can the world go from broken to hopefully one globe again. Like always, you have an assignment to do. This one's shorter because tomorrow is going to be kind of a review assignment. So please make sure, one, that you are completing the assignment. I'm seeing a lot of people just complete bell work. Guys, bell work is not your assignment. That's one question. That's one part of it. If you're only completing bell work, you're only going to get 2 points out of 22. So not really the grade you want, right? Also, make sure which if you're hearing this, you're doing what you're supposed to. Make sure you're watching my videos. Some of the information that's going to be on the quiz, you can't just get from the slides. You got to listen to me talk. So with that, I will close out today's video. I hope you all have a great day, and I will take any email questions that you need, and we'll just start preparing for that quiz, okay? All right, have a great day, and I'll see you guys later.